there, savvy home buyers and sellers. This is Jeff Valeri, the Village Guru, and welcome to the January 2021 Greater Toronto Real Estate Market Update. Whether you're a buyer or seller, there's lots of information in this update. You're not going to want to miss it. Let's go. All right, let's just start off with the fact that 2020 was the craziest year I've ever seen in real estate. What started out as a healthy market died all of a sudden in the spring due to coronavirus, then made a comeback into the summer and the fall, where by the end of the year in December of 2020, there was 64% more sales than at the same time last year, which when you look at it as just a month, you're like, wow, that broke all kinds of records. But you got to remember that those were the sales that were missed during the spring of 2020. So that explains why it's been so busy in the fall. All right, so now that the holidays are over and we're into January, we're seeing the market continue right where it left off in December with a lack of inventory in the single family segment, while we still have a lot of inventory in certain areas when it comes to condos. Now, before we get into the numbers, let's go over what's been going on in the news lately. First off, like nobody knows already, Ontario is in another state of emergency and a full-blown lockdown province-wide. Yes, they've closed almost everything. However, when it comes to real estate, we're an essential service. So real estate has pretty much not changed since the rules were made last spring. Basically, it's business as usual. We try to limit the amount of showings in homes in order to stop the spread. And also, we're not allowed to do things like open houses. But aside from that, we're allowed to sell homes. We're allowed to do everything. You're allowed to go out and look at homes. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, don't let this discourage you, because there is a lack of inventory in the market and it is a great time to sell. Now, some people may be wondering, how do we sell a house in a pandemic? Well, number one is we use a lot more technology. Programs like Zoom, we use 3D Matterport tours, lots of photos, targeted advertising. The goal is to get people to look at your home online and narrow the amount of people that actually come to see it in person. Obviously, most people still want to buy a home by seeing it in person, but if we can limit the showings to people who are just serious and get rid of the open house, that goes a long way. We've sold a lot of houses on my team last year and we never had an issue with anything like coronavirus, so that's a bonus. All right, so let's get into the numbers. In the Greater Toronto area for all housing types, the average selling price was up almost 12% year over year compared to the same time last year. That is a healthy growth. However, when you break it down by housing segment and also area, you're gonna see some real big trends going on in real estate. Now, when we look at detached houses, the average price of a detached house in the city of Toronto was up 8.1% year over year. However, when you look at the 905 region, the average selling price is up over 22% year over year. So that's a huge variance, and it shows you that a lot of people are leaving the city core, they're going out into the suburbs, and they're looking to buy larger property. Now, when we look at semi-detached and townhomes, we see more of a balance between Toronto and the 905, where semi-detached homes were up about 16% year over year, while townhouses were up 14%. And finally, when we get to condos, here's where we see another big variance. In the city of Toronto, the average condo price dropped almost 5% year over year, while in the 905, it went up a modest 6%. So as you can see, the demand for condos isn't quite as strong as the single family segment. However, we did see some good news in the month of December where sales have started to pick up with condos, which may be signaling that the condo market has bottomed out and it's slowly gonna start to come back up. Because you have to remember that regardless of what's happening today, if you take a long-term approach of a year to 2 years, that the demand for housing is gonna continue and that people are gonna have to live somewhere, and that includes high-rise condominiums. It's the same with investors who have rental properties and high-rise condos. It has been a slow market. The rental rates have gone down. However, I have a number of listings with condo rentals and I can see the demand for showing starting to pick up. So hang tight if you're a condo owner. I think better things are coming soon in the future. And finally, let's talk about what all these numbers mean. So as I said before, when we look at what happened last year, a lot of the spike in sales and prices in the second half of 2020 was due to pent-up demand from earlier in the year when the market was shut down. As we've come into January and we're back in lockdown, the only difference really going on now is I don't think people are as scared as they were last year. We kind of know what COVID-19 is, so people are buying and selling houses still. Now, my outlook for the first half of 2021 is probably continuation of tight market conditions because there is a lot of demand. Interest rates are historically low. There's a lot of buyers out there trying to get properties. And again, the biggest problem in the GTA is too many people, not enough new homes coming on market. So until something like that changes, I don't see anything changing in the market soon. Now, keep an eye out for the government. There has been some rumblings about bringing in a national home buyers tax for foreigners. I don't know how this will affect the market. I know in the GTA, when they brought it in 2017, it did have an effect of pushing down prices only temporarily. So we'll have to wait and see for that. But I don't see the federal government doing anything at this point in time because I think real estate is the one industry carrying the economy in this country right now. So that's my guess on that. Well, there you have it. I'm Jeff O'Leary. I hope you enjoyed my January 2021 Greater Toronto Real Estate Market Update. If you have any questions about real estate, always feel free to call or email me. I'm Jeff O'Leary, the Village Guru. Have yourself a safe day.